Welcome back to Husky Reacts. This time, an ode to Magic, Modern Horizons 3 debut. Of course, most people around the community probably have already seen most of the leaks happening and being shown, and everyone sees all the different stuff. I'm not buying into this set. I'm gonna say it right now. I just want to see what they say in this. But this looks like an Eldrazi set. Like, that's all this looks like from what I've seen so far. Every card looks like it's Eldrazi, and if it isn't Eldrazi, we're bringing back energy counters. So let's see what happens. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not massively excited for this, and I'm gonna pause throughout it as well if there's stuff that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, open them up.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I feel like
It's like the sweetest pack ever.
I was gonna say, I feel like they made us.
These sets are made for people like me. I've been playing the game for a long time, and I love limited, and Modern Horizons sets are perfect for that.
The cards are super juiced, and everything is far more exciting and fun to play.
And everything is so strong, but everybody has these strong decks as well, so it's kind of like haymaker after haymaker.
And this is the one time when the gloves get to come off for the designers, and they get to just unload all these cool, weird ideas. Hey, do you want to put that in the set? Yes, I do.
This is a broken set. Got it.
For Modern Horizons 3, we knew that we were going to be doing Eldrazi, we knew we were going to be doing energy, and we were going to be doing these sort of build around.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it. So Emrakul, the world anew, 6 mana, 12 mana, 12. When you cast this spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls. Flying, protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. When Emrakul, the New World, leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Madness, pay 6 waste. The energy counters are back. This was a big thing during Kaladesh when it first came out. So we get the it makes sense for Izzet as well. Izzet Genitorium, a blue and a red. If you get one or more energy counters, you get that many +1 instead. That's pretty sick, actually. Draw a card, activate only if you paid or lost more. And then we're going back to the old school transform planeswalkers. Ajani, Noctil, Pariah, 1 and a white, 1/2. When enters battlefield, create a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. Whenever one or more other cats you control die, you may exile Ajani, then return him to the battlefield. Transformed as a planeswalker. So it's kind of the old school planeswalkers that could transform by doing stuff. Put a 1/1 counter on each cat. Create a cat. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, then sacrifices the rest. Oh, they choose one. Okay. So choose everything, board wipe. Done. Okay.
Planeswalkers. Everything started from there and then just rippled outward as we developed this.
They say rippled outwards. Everything I've seen just says, we started with these 3 things, and then we just said, okay, Eldrazi.
So for 30 years, like basically 2/3 of my life, I've been playing Magic. I've seen the Modern Horizons grow and develop, and it's my jam. You know, it's exactly what I'm about.
The one thing that kind of unites everyone who works at Wizards of the Coast is we love Magic.
The people that worked on the set.
And it's my jam. You know, it's exactly what I'm about.
The one thing that kind of unites everyone who works at Wizards of the Coast is we love Magic.
The people.
I hope they love Magic. Like, what is that? The one thing that unites us is that we love the game that we make and play, that we make and design. I hope so.
People that worked on the set, the people that even work on any part of Magic are Magic players. We still play every day. We follow and pay attention to like the trends and what's happening in real life tournaments. We wouldn't do that if we weren't passionate about it.
You know, before I came to Wizards, I was a very competitive Magic player. That was always my favorite type of tournament, was Modern, where it's like there's tons of interesting possibilities. The metagame is always gonna be very fresh.
There's so many options and cards that you can kind of express yourself in just whatever way you feel like it.
If you like something about Magic, it's in Modern for you somewhere.
I mean, that's the fun. It's like you give people more toys and then they find different ways to break it.
Me, I'm excited for when the set comes out.
Oh, look at that beautiful display.
The first time you actually see the real glossy Magic cards in your hand.
Is that our boy?
What is
I think it is.
I think that's
Now it's in a real Magic card, official, crisp.
The first one of these I've opened. I'm trying to hold it all in right now.
You've worked with it for years, and you still get this sense of awe when you get to open those packs.
Yeah.
No, this is a real Magic set because we gave players a way to elk stuff. A lot of the
What are some of these lines in this one today? Like so they do a lot of things where they are like over exaggerated. They try to make things like cooler, but like this is a real Magic set and they're holding the physical cards. I know what they're saying, but like it's just like
Modern, like Legacy, like Pioneer, is that if you buy a deck, you're going to be able to play it for a really long time, ideally forever. We also want people whose decks maybe have going to be able to play it free, like Legacy, like Pioneer stuff. A lot of the appeal of formats like Modern, like Legacy, like Pioneer, is that if you buy a deck, you're going to be able to play it for a really long time, ideally forever.
if you buy a deck, you're going to be able to play it for a really long time, preferably forever. No, that's that like these. Okay, like this is the thing. Like they can't. Oh my god.
We also want people whose decks maybe haven't gotten new tools in a while to make sure that they do have an outlet to be able to get new things.
And then there's, I'll call the audience that loves powerful cards.
I have to recalibrate my entire brain around picking these really powerful cards.
It was a couple months of us kind of locking ourselves on a different floor from the rest of the design teams, get through the list of all the cards we want to see in play, and we would print it out of these printers that print, Magic cards, which is pretty cool, and then assign them out every week and be like, let's do a report every couple days on how things are going, how are the cards looking.
An hour playing is often worth, just hours of conversation. I can feel when things are coming together, and I can feel when things need revised. Part of the fun thing about early design is you want to explore what's fun. What parts of this do we like? What parts do we need to move on from?
We've got some playtest versions of this card so we can kind of see how it evolved, right? And what we found was this deck had so many weird lands that made colorless mana that it was super hard to cast this card before and after.
That's cool.
You're playing, and Michael.
Oh, hold up a sec. I want to see that. That's actually really cool. See, this is the stuff I like. Is like this sort of stuff. Whereas like but I wish I could see I can't read the card on the left, bro. Like, why didn't they show this as an actual thing? If this is an ode to Magic, show us how it developed, right? Because I'd love to actually see the difference between these. But, so, 2 colorless, and then either a blue or a green. Shapeshifter Noble, Omo, Queen of Vesuva, which I'm assuming is from the Commander deck, I think. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each of up to 1 target land and up to 1 target creature. Each land with an everything counter on it is every land type in addition to its other types. Each non-land creature with an everything counter on it is every creature type. Yeah, they just said we're gonna make a set that we're just gonna break everything.
Michael Majors, the lead designer, will come up behind you and be like, "Oh, all of a sudden your 4/4 is a 3/3," or you're like, "Hey, this says these words. Does it mean that?" And it's like, "No. Oh, that was the old version. Scratch out." Right? By the time you get to the end, you really are like, "Wow, this is revolutionized. This has really come together." And so playtest cards represent all of this change, all of the.
Worm Coil Lava. It's a Phyrexian worm, 3 and 2 black, Death Touch lifelink. When it dies, create a 1/1 worm, and then create a 2/1 worm. Interesting. That's kind of cool. And it's a 3/3. So how did that change? Hold up a second. So it was a 4/4, and then it creates 2 different. Okay. That's interesting, because that's such a weird little change.
the work that we do.
It's kind of fun to see what you designed to put into the set
Interesting.
versus what the players do with it.
So there's people like me who just love to draft.
I love drafting.
Drafting is my bread and butter.
I am a draft fanatic. The Modern Horizon sets are some of my favorite of all time to draft.
Oh, that is.
Wow, that's really
cool.
cool.
Keep getting multiple rares. 10 mana. What does yours cost?
When you start opening these cards, it's like, wow, wow, wow. And you have to pick one of them each time, but they are really amped up.
Unfortunately, your opponent's also powered up, but that's just what makes for compelling, fun games.
We've really made sure that a lot of the different 2-color pair archetypes are very loud about what they're trying to do.
Energy
I like
looks
that.
like one that they actually wanted to make one of the hallmarks of the set, and it's a really cool additional resource that you can manage that isn't life total or mana.
Early on, the team sits down and says, all right, we have 10 color pairs. We're gonna have Eldrazi, we're gonna have energy, but also we have to figure out how are they going to mix.
With Modern Horizons, the power level is clearly a bit higher.
The 3 Eldrazi Titans are here. They're returning. If you
Oh,
thought
great,
Emrakul
that's
was
fun.
exciting, we have
That's fun. Yeah, this is fun. I hate Eldrazi's. I hate Eldrazi. So this is fun. I know some people that are really going to enjoy this, but this is fun. Fun, ha 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 ha, fun. So Ulamog the Defiler, 10 mana for 7/7. When you cast this, target opponent exiles the half of their library rounded up. Ward is sacrifice 2 permanents. When it enters the battlefield with a number of X counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. It has Annihilator X, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on it. Great. And then Kazalek, the Broken Reality, 9 for a 9/9. When you cast a spell up to 2 target players, each manifests 2 cards from their hands. For each card manifested this way, you draw a card. To manifest a card, put it on the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature. Turn it face up at any time for its mana cost if it's a creature card. Other colorless creatures you control get +3/+2.
both Ulamog and Kozilek that
Good.
I hope will also blow your socks off.
For me, Emrakul the World Anew, it's this amazing, like, 12/12. That will represent the enormity of Emrakul. And this has madness. Like, if you have 6 colorless and you discard it, you can play it for basically half its cost.
I'm super stoked for Eldrazi. These cards go huge. They're really strong, but you have to work for
I
these
hate
cards,
Eldrazi
and that's
so
the card
much.
that I really like. It makes my brain start to spin about how can I put these together to get this huge payoff.
So whenever you look at the new Kozilek,
hate it so
manifesting
much.
is not something that you normally get to do in a Magic set. With
Oh, I hate
Kozilek,
it
you get
so
to find
much.
whatever your high impact cast trigger is going to be throughout all of Magic's history, and then how do we make that powerful enough to hang in Modern? When it comes to a Horizon set, we generally know that there's sort of an expectation that there's going to be some sort of free spell cycle. We did the Evoke Elementals in MH2, the Forces in MH1. For MH3, we have the Flares.
So we definitely need
Okay, so the flares. Flare of Fortitude, Denial, Malice, Duplication, and Cultivation. So it looks like they're almost all of them, weirdly enough. All of them are 2, they're colors, and then 1, other than black and white, which are 2. You may sacrifice a non-token blank creature rather than pay this card's spell. So, each color is each 1. Boom, boom, boom. So, like, you can sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay this spell. Blue, black, red, green. Until end of turn, your life total can't change, and permanents you control gain hexproof and death and indestructible. That's white, shocking. Blue is counter spell, so sacrifice a creature to be able to counter something. Okay. Each one sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Okay, I kind of like the Malice one. Actually, I kind of really like the Malice one. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. That's kind of scary because instead of actually having to pay the mana for it, now you can actually use that mana to pay something else. And red, big blast red spells, right? Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put 1 in the battlefield tapped, and the other 1 into your hand. Then shuffle. Okay, I gotta dig these. It's funny that they're all instant, other than cultivation. Cultivation is a sorcery, but I dig this. I dig these. These aren't bad.
needed an exciting new twist card. So instead of pitching a
Oh, I like the borderless break. I really like the borderless break on these. Okay, so also now we know borderless break is going to be a thing. But the borderless break on these looks really nice. These look really nice.
card from your hand, you actually need to sacrifice a non-token creature on the battlefield of the corresponding color. So it's an interesting new dynamic.
Flare of Cultivation was one that we spent a ton of development cycles on, and some versions of Eldrazi that were trying to go further up the curve and cast bigger spells. We wanted to make sure that they're fun and not oppressive.
Flare of Duplication, all you have to do, you find a goblin who's lying around, you find a red creature, and you're like, I'm sorry, friend, you have to go. It's just like, I need 2 of the spell I'm casting. Just being able to throw back your opponent's spell in their face, that's amazing. And now, assuming you have at least 1 red creature out, that's something that's gonna have to be in the back of your opponent's minds.
Oh, do you have Frogmere Enforcer over
I
there?
do.
That's one of the
Frog
funnest
what?
cards.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I heard
literally
frog.
a reference inside a reference. You have Big Mirror Enforcer, Little Frogmite as the prototype, and then the creature.
Okay, so I'm a mirror fan. I have a little mirror over here, over in the corner there. I have a mirror. I love mirrors. I've loved mirrors my entire, like, since they came out in the first Mirrodin set. And I have been collecting mirrors since. So now that there are mirrors in this, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Is the
Okay, so so this was Mirror Enforcer and Frogmite. So they took the 2 and they wanted to make it into 1. 7 for a 4/4 Frogmere. It has prototype and then has affinity for artifacts.
is
Okay.
the 2 of them combined. The name was
So Frogmere Enforcer. I love it. Laws of nature on Mirrodin are always malleable. So, okay, so either you can pay it for 7 and you get a 4/4 with affinity for artifacts, or you can pay it for 4 and it's a 2/2 that also has affinity for artifacts.
it's a little different at one point,
Okay.
but
I think they figured it out. I mean, Frogmere Enforcer, you see it, you get it.
I really love the callback cards in the Modern Horizons sets.
We want to do callbacks. We want to have fun and for players to.
Urza's Cave. Okay, Urza's Cave. Tap it. Sacrifice and put a sacrifice Urza's land. Search library for land. Put it on the battlefield. Tapped and then shuffle. Okay.
Be able to
I kinda
catch
dig this.
references in the art where possible.
To me, callbacks are sort of this, I'll say, dive through Magic's history.
if you've played a lot of Magic, you're going to see characters that you're familiar with. You might even see some sort of meta references to cards.
You know, we're making this game for ourselves too, right? So we want those moments of excitement. Like, what if I could finally see this thing that I've always thought about and talked about and wanted to see?
I really like the series of cards that we've made where we take 3 kind of copies of one famous Magic card and staple them together into a single card.
We had Lane of War Tribe.
Lane of War Tribe. Okay. 3 for a 3/3 and add 3. Elf deck's getting all the love right now. Hot damn.
In Modern Horizons 1, we had Healer's
Healer's Flock. Oh, because that was in Modern Horizon 1. Healer's Flock is in Modern Horizon 2. Ooh, burp. I like burbs. Burb. 3 for a 3/3. Okay, so what do we got this time?
in Modern Horizons 2, and now we have Mog Mob, which is 3 Mog Fanatics.
Mog Mob. 3 for a 3/3. Sacrifice it deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. That's kind of funny.
If you get it, you're just like,
That's
oh,
kind of funny.
They took 3 of them
Okay,
and put them
I
together.
get it.
I
That's
originally
funny.
didn't have it as deal divided damage, and it was just deal 3 damage to any target. And someone gave me that suggestion. It's like, oh, this is actually a way better illusion to 3 Mog Fanatics.
This particular set's cool because it has a lot of throwback or callbacks to cards that I might remember from the past. So it's this interesting mix of brand new, never before seen, but also with things that are a little more familiar, a little more comfortable.
We have Snow-Covered Wastes, which is
Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Snow-covered wastes. The snow-covered lands I've always been a big fan of because it's just a small change, but I just love the design and the look of them, honestly, more. But adding wastes is kind of cool because I don't think we've had snow-covered wastes.
Covered Wastes, which is kind of a reference to the first time Eldrazi was a big deck, was called Eldrazi Winter.
I mean, the completionist
okay.
in
Oh, yeah, the Eldrazi. All right.
loves the fulfillment of, we have 5 basics, we have a wastes. Okay, we have 5 snow-covered basics. We didn't have snow-covered wastes. Like, of course this is something that should exist. We need to have snow-covered wastes.
I dig it.
And now we do.
Favorite part
That's
of
cool.
the process is getting all the little in-jokes in, all the little Easter eggs.
Wumpus Aberration is one of the
Wumpus Aberration. See, this is the thing. We're getting, like, there's so many cards like this where they're Eldrazi beasts. It's unreal. 3 colorless and a base color for a 6/6 with Devoid. This card has no color. When you cast this spell, if waste wasn't spent to cast it, target opponent may put a creature card from their hand onto the battlefield. Oh, okay.
ones that is extremely on the nose. Carmen made a joke in a meeting and it made Michael laugh hard enough that it now is just a real card.
I certainly believe her. Her memory is better than mine.
I think my favorite in-joke is also my favorite card in this set, and that's Witch Enchanter. Whenever you cast...
Okay, so it's the land one. So either you can play it as a land or you can play it for the creature, which is Witch Enchanter. 3 for white, 2/2. When enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls.
In-joke is also my favorite card in this set, and that's Witch Enchanter. Whenever you cast it, you say Witch Enchanter, because that's the name of the card. And in Greater Magic, for cards that start with Dis, people will say Witch Spell.
Which Blessed Meadow. Wait, what is she? Wait, hold on, wait.
Greater Magic, for cards that start with Dis, people will say Witch Spell, and you say Dispel when you counter it, or Witch Member, Dismember, etc. So Witch Enchanter, you get to say Disenchanter, and when it enters the battlefield, it destroys an artifact or an enchantment, like the card Disenchant. And that was one that made a lot of people just giggle during playtesting.
Okay, I get
to
it.
see your game pieces bring people joy in real times is what keeps me coming back to this job.
Witch Enchanter.
This one.
This one. And there's a whole backside to the card too.
Yeah,
so
right. That's it.
There's more card there.
6, also on the list of cards where
6 Tree Folk, 2 white. Oh yeah, 2 white, 2 green. Reach and attacks. Mill 3 cards. You may put a land from among them into your hand as long as it's your turn. Non-land permanent cards in your graveyards have a trace. You may cast permanent spells from your graveyard by discarding a land in addition to paying the cost. Okay,
where it was just
cool.
kind of preposterous enough when I suggested it that the room kind of laughed, and then we thought, well, Wrenn and 6 originally did come from Modern Horizons 1, maybe.
The Horizons have matured enough to where we start referencing themselves.
It's a depiction of 6 before it merges with Wrenn. So there's this just really sensitive scene of them in the forest and like autumn leaves.
There are a lot of constraints making the cards that a lot of people on the outside don't realize. In some cases, like token artwork, if a token is on a bunch of different cards, you can't always change the stats of the token. Genku Future Shaper is one.
Genku Future Shaper, a Moon Folk Wizard. Alright, 2 colorless and then Azorius. Whenever another non-token permanent you control leaves the battlefield, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a creature token with these characteristics. A 2/2 white fox with vigilance, a 1/2 blue moonfolk with flying, or a 1/1 black rat with lifelink. 3 and 2 Azorias. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and it's a 2/5. That's pretty solid. I actually really like that.
And that we thought was a cool enough character.
I dig that. That's
we
cool.
We made a bunch of individualized tokens just for this card because we thought it was such a great story beat.
So those creature tokens are all of Genku's and Tamiya's children. It's basically him as a stay-at-home dad.
So one of the really cool things about working on a Horizon set like this is that you get to be really pointed at the kinds of cards that you're answering. So Thief of Existence was one that...
There's another one with Devoid that has no color. 1 colorless, 1 waste, 1 green for a 3/4. When you cast a spell, exile up to 1 target non-creature and non-land permanent an opponent controls with a mana value of 4 or less. If you do... Thief of Existence gains when this creature leaves the battlefield, target opponent draws a card.
In playtesting, it literally was called Time Unraveler because the whole purpose of the card was to check Teferi Time Raveler.
Serum Visionary is a classic Modern Horizons.
Okay. So they made the card specifically to to defend against another card. That's kind of interesting. Serum Visionary 2, blue, 2/2, and his battlefield draw cards and
Battle
strike 2.
design, where we take a famous card, in this case Serum Visions, and we attach it to a creature. So this was a spell, now it's a creature that when it enters, it casts that spell.
Psychic Frog is maybe the first card I ever made.
I think Psychic Frog is just like the home run nostalgia hit.
Psychic Frog, right?
Psychic Frog. It is
Psychic Frog. It has Demir, 1/2. Deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card. Discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on it. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard and against flying. Psychic Frog is just,
clear reference
hilarious.
to Psychotog as a Psychic Frog.
And it's a Psychic Frog. It's kind of,
That's hilarious. I
Going
like it.
back to the nostalgic feeling of it, like seeing cards that were a little bit twisted from their old designs, but basically the same thing, kind of just let me feel, what it's like to open a booster back when I was 10 years old.
Null Drifter. See, I don't like the Null Drifter one because this would never, I don't think it was anything like that. But still, 7 for 4/4 when you cast a spell, draw Draw 2 cards, and it has Flying, Annihilator 1, and Evoke 2.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of the retro frame cards.
I think
I love the retro frames. Retro frames are cool.
Just kind of go back to
Shadow of the Sun. 4 and 2. Enchant player. At the beginning of Enchanted player's post-combat main phase, there's an additional beginning phase after the... Wait a minute. At the beginning of Enchanted player's post-combat main phase, there's an additional beginning phase after this phase. The end step happens after the added untap, upkeep, and draw steps. So wait a minute. So you go through your untap, upkeep, draw, main phase, combat, post-combat main phase. So combat, main phase 2, and then you go untap, upkeep, draw, and turn. That's kind of crazy. That actually goes hard. Oh, but that looks so good.
Holding a card in.
Priest of Tatiana. Add 1 for each elf on the battlefield. That's just gross. Stop giving elves
Your
good
hand
things.
that looks like the first
Stop
Magic
giving
card
elves
you
good
ever
things.
open up from a pack.
Stop it.
Is just
6.
a really meaning.
See, I love the old art style, but that's the old retro frames, because that's what I started with. I started in Odyssey, so I really like these.
So I opened up a retro frame Flooded Strand. I see them, and it immediately makes me think of when I first started playing Magic. And I don't know why, but there's something about the way it was when you started that just feels awesome.
I don't want to say this because the game is not great right now, and the old feeling of the game being really great. But
Modern Horizons 3, because it's really touching on callbacks and touching on nostalgia and really building into what I'll call the heart of Magic, it
So it's
means
nostalgia
that we
bait.
go and we just build the art in a different way. Let's find out what we love, what our fans love, and tap into that.
I think it's really important to bring legacy artists back for a set like this because immediately it ties back in visually to the history of the game.
These artists know Magic inside and out. They're lore masters, and they've been working with us for so long. We all can put a lot of trust into them.
Richard Kane Ferguson, yeah, his work is incredible. You can't look at his art without.
that's sick. Holy shit, that's cool looking. White Orchid Phantom. 2 red. I mean, geez, wow. See, my brain. 2 white. 2/2 flying first strike. When it enters battlefield, disrupts 1 target non-basic land. Its controller may search the library for a basic land and put it on the battlefield tapped. And then shuffle. That looks sick.
Guitar riffs and like sky-splitting lightning.
I wish, though, because I know they're not going to, they should show what the card normally looks like, the other version of it, not the borderless frame break. They should show the other version as well.
Coming from his
but they're not going
he just
to.
dives into like immense
That looks
detail.
really cool, though.
He has a very textured, almost crunchy look that I just adore. Nobody's work looks like that, and I think his
Richard
work
Kane
really stands
Ferguson.
out.
That's
the borderless frame break
awesome.
Mr. Fun treatment is always really, really cool.
We've only done these.
Okay, so there's the Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog looks crazy, too, in that. With the big... Clothonian Nightmare and Shamo. When it enters battlefield, you get 3 energy. Pay X energy. Sacrifice a creature. Return this to its owner's hand. Return target non-creature card with a mana value of X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh. Okay. Kind of crazy. Wheel of Potential. Welcome to the Wheel of Potential. You get 3 energy, and you may pay X energy. Each player may exile their hand and draw X cards. If X is over 7 or more, you may play cards you own exiled this way until the end of your next turn. Power Balance 2. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the 2 spells share the same mana value. That's kind of nutty.
Really sparingly. You know, really the powerful cards can get amplified by something.
But I dig the
like
look
that.
of these.
But for the opponent, like
the Nightmare card looks absolutely insane, by the way. The Wheel of Potential looks kind of cool. I'm not sure how I feel about it really though, but Power Balance though is that I like that.
they're feeling
and Psychic
that.
Frog
oh
is
no, like it's so powerful. It's like breaking the card up as it's like showing up.
Yeah, so for me today, I drafted Eldrazi, and that's one of my favorite creature types. It's one of my favorite things that they've ever made creatively from Wizards of the Coast. So once I see that, I'm in.
These are concept art. I remember digging through the office
Oh,
to find
those
the
look cool.
original Eldrazi
The original concept
art. I
arts?
think it's really exciting that these versions of this art is on these cards.
And this is a mock-up of a serialized card. That means that there's going to be 250 of these in the whole world. It makes it really special.
Yeah, these are the dream pools, right?
Right, yeah. When you're opening a collector booster, you're hoping to get one.
See, those are cool. I like the serialized as an additional thing that they've added to the game. I haven't pulled a serialized. The only thing close to this that I've pulled is the Ring of Man from Lord of the Rings, but it wasn't serialized. I would love to be able to pull a serialized. I don't ever think it's going to happen. I didn't buy any of Modern Horizons 3, I'm not going to lie. So
one of those
Eldrazi.
I mean, you have a chance to open one of these, and that's an experience that you're just...
I love how it's the old art that they were showing as well. That's really cool. I will say that. That's really cool. Serialized Eldrazi are localized in English only and are only available in collector boosters of any language. Non-serialized Eldrazi cards are mechanically identical to serialized versions. So it's basically saying, like, if they're serialized or not, they're the same card. It's just that one of them is serialized.
It's not going to get very often. You open up something so cool, and this would be like the best open of my entire life if I got one of these. Also, I'm a huge fan of Emrakul. I'm a huge fan of Mark Tadine, the artist for this, so I love the artwork for it. I mean,
it looks
this
really
would probably
good.
be a card that would never leave my collection if I opened it.
Usually what my favorite process is just working with the artists, communicating with them, and they can be really creative.
Aether Refinery was an example of a card where we really gave the artist more.
Okay, I really like it because this does give massive Kaladesh vibes right off rip. Just looking at this, it looks like Kaladesh. It's a commander deck card as well, I think. 4, 2 red, artifact. Whenever you get 1 or more energy, you get twice that many instead. It's kind of nasty. If you get energy, tap it. If you get energy, then you may pay 1 or more. If you do, create a XX black Aetherborn creature token with X is the amount of energy paid this way. Okay, so you tap it. So you tap it, you get 1 energy. However, though, if you get 1 or more energy counters, you get twice that many. So you get 2 energy if you tap it. Then you may pay 1 or more energy. So if you pay those 2 energy that you get for tapping this, you can then pay it, and you can bring out a 2/2 black Aetherborn creature token. That's kind of cool. I actually really like that.
Freedom. The art description was basically just design as an ether refinery, and then they came back with an ether refinery, and it was the most beautiful ether refinery ever.
I really like that.
I'm always surprised by the art that comes back. Whenever
the Aetherborn are really
I have
kind of
this
cool
picture
creature
in my
types to
head
me.
of how it's going to be, but I'm not an artist. I'm about the words, and then the artist will take that and transform it into something amazing.
So I think like when I start drawing, usually I try to just think about just the general gesture of what's going on. I'm Evan Fong, and I've been doing art for Magic since Theros Beyond Death. I do illustration and concept art. I did the Tamio card. It's my first Planeswalker. I'm really excited to see her. These are like preliminary sketches I did. This is kind of like my thinking before I go into like sending the sketches to Sarah. I've been looking at a lot of manga artists lately, and they do a lot of ink work and pencil work, and it made me really inspired to kind of try to get the energy that comes with working with analog media.
I really enjoyed the Tamio card in particular because we don't have to feel beholden
That's such a
to our
pretty
current
card.
timeline. We can go back and show her as she was in the past, and that's something that is really unique.
Okay, so we have a Tamio card in this. Cool. Tamio, Inquisitive Student. 1 for an 0/3, and when she attacks, we get to investigate. When you draw your 3rd card in a turn, exile Tamio and then return her. And when she becomes a Planeswalker, she
Getting
looks
to see them before they were these powerful, overall like best cards in Magic characters, and seeing them be like, just people.
Come on, what do we get? Okay, hold
Yeah,
on.
being kind of real, yeah.
Being human.
I think that was one of the coolest parts about this project was like that showing both things, right?
Show us
Giving you a
both.
chance to do both.
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
B side of my
There
work-
it is. Seasoned Scholar. Okay, so it was the first image they showed, which that was the thing I first said when I was like, wow, this looks really good. I really like the artwork on this. This is really cool artwork. 2 when it comes in, +2 until your next turn. Whenever a creature attacks you or a Planeswalker you control, it gets -1, -0. That's kind of cool. -3, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to hand. If it's a green card, add 1 mana of any color. Interesting. -7, draw cards equal to half the number of cards in your library, rounded up. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size.
Transformation card where she's
Wow.
kind of exploding into her Planeswalker.
But I really like
was
the
inspired by
artwork
a lot
on the
of
card,
anime
though.
I saw growing up, like magical girl transformations and things like that. Because there's a lot of like graphic design elements and like things where
Yeah, no,
the special
art-wise,
effects
this
are
card's
used, like, as
awesome.
ribbons or things like that.
So I have a little surprise to show you.
Okay.
Look at it.
Oh my gosh.
Look at it.
Oh, it looks so good.
It's the textured foil.
Wow. Oh, she looks awesome.
Okay, so we have serialized, textured foil, and just straight up borderless right now. So those are the three. As right now, we have 3 different types of cards.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You did so good with this.
How long is
I
this
know
gonna
it was
be?
a challenge.
I know I've
to
been
break
pausing
the
a lot,
frame
but
Yeah.
shit.
and still like show her in the middle of it.
Oh, that's cool.
See the texture on it?
Yeah.
The first time I looked at a card that I had commissioned, I cried. Watching someone create art, like getting a sketch back from someone, like I send them a description and it's very rational. I read through it and it makes perfect sense. And then when I see the sketches, no matter how rough they are, the ability of a human to show feeling and to create out of nothing, just like every time it blows my mind, it doesn't get old. So whenever I open a card and see it like cut and printed by a giant printing machine and like it's polished and it's beautiful, knowing how many people had to make that card look good, it's very moving.
I was gonna say that must be a really cool feeling to like. It's like you created this card. This is your baby. This is like your idea, and it's like you have it fully in your head, like word wise. Like this is what I want. Like I want an Aether refinery, for instance, like they were saying. And then like the artist comes back and it just completely blows your mind, like what it looks like. Like I can only imagine what that feeling must be like.
Duh, it's young Soren.
The front side of Soren's.
Okay. I know. I have a buddy who collects Soren cards, so I already know he's gonna love this. Soren, House of Markov, 1/1. He looks like such an angsty little anime boy in this. He's a 1/4 lifelink exert at the beginning of your post-combat main phase. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, exile Soren and return to the battlefield.
Flipwalker card is
Okay.
him as a.
Wait, did they say Flipwalker? Hold up a second.
Young Soren.
The front side of Soren's Flipwalker card
They did. They said Flipwalker. That's hilarious. Okay, so we have Flipwalkers now.
is
That's-
him as a human teenager when
Oh!
he's just this lordly little princeling.
A human
on Innistrad.
teenager.
Young Soren is one of my favorite moments in the whole set. That really like gives you like he's like
Interesting.
looking off to the side.
Soren, Ravenous Neonite. Neonite. 3. Create a food token for 2. Soren deals damage equal to the number and equal to the amount of life you gain this turn to any target. That could kind of go hard. Especially how much did he cost? That could go hard. Gain control of target creature. It becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. Put a lifelink counter on it if you control a creature. Put a lifelink counter on it if you control a white permanent other than Soren. I mean, it says other or Soren, so other than Soren, but yeah, that's that.
I wanted him to be
I
this
dig it.
pouty, brooding,
It is funny seeing because like the left side looks like such angsty anime boy vibes, like anime vampire vibes.
angsty teenager, and then the art came back, and
Okay, so we have Johnny, we have Soren, and we have Tamiao. So who do we have for red and who do we have for blue?
he was exactly that. It's like, oh my gosh, that is perfect.
Oh no, blue
It's
we
fun
already
to
did.
do
Green.
that many
What do you have for green?
planeswalkers and choose.
Oh, we're getting Ral for red. Okay, so Ral, Monsoon Mage. 1 and a red. Instant sorcery spells cost 1 less to play. He's a 1/3. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery during your turn, flip a coin. If you lose the coin flip, Ral deals 1 damage to you. If you win, exile.
Depict many of them when they're young.
Okay.
Before they sparked. Like, Raw was my favorite because what does he look like as a young man? And so it's really.
Ral, the Leyline Prodigy. So an enters battlefield with a additional loyal counting on him for each instant or sorcery spell you've cast this turn. So you could ideally get him on the field for a ton. Right? Until your next turn, instant sorcery spells cost 1 less to play. He deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Draw a card if you control a blue permanent other than Ral. And then -8, exile the top 8 cards of your library. If you may cast instant sorceries from among them without paying them mana.
Really exciting
All right.
to see them in a more vibrant and explosive pose to where they're actually coming forward.
It's amazing to see these planeswalkers come to life. I mean, this is literally showing their spark moment. There's a borderless Ajani, and you can see Ajani and the impact that the death of his brother had on him. It's one of the original planeswalkers, right?
Mhm.
Lauren debuted Ajani, and he's still with us today, and we get to bring him back over and over again. So
Ajani's
From my
cool.
perspective as an art director,
Well,
one
who's
of
the
the most fun
green?
things about it is getting to look back in the catalog of the art, kind of bring back some artists. Like we work with Ron Spencer.
Grist. Voracious? Summon lava. 1/2, death touch. Whenever Whenever this or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from the graveyard or you cast it from the graveyard, you may pay 1. If you do, exile. Okay, so this is the final one. It's Grist.
Cards, and he's
cool.
been making art for Magic since like Alpha.
Ron Spencer.
And
I was
Grist
gonna say Ron. Grist, the Plague Swarm. Create a 1/1 black-green insect creature token, then mill 2. Put a death touch counter on the token. If a black card was milled this way, destroy target artifact or enchantment for -2, and then -6 for each creature card in your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect.
And
That's
disgusting. She's like this giant monster
sick.
made out of bugs. The other side, which we've never seen in Magic before, is Grist as like a little caterpillar, and it's
That's
like,
kind of
got
cool,
dripping
yeah.
fangs and all these like purple.
Ron Spencer sounds very familiar
colors,
too.
and it's so beautiful. You could like print it on silk, but it's like a gross little
It's like a gross
monstrous
silk?
caterpillar. Amazing.
Okay, so
Of
there's the
course, I have,
Planeswalkers, though.
A lot of love for tons of different cards, and Ophelia is definitely my number 1 pick. She is
Yeah,
the
puppy
witness
dog.
Of my personal pet, Ophelia.
Ophelia.
This is Ophelia.
Aw.
She's a good girl. Yeah, so here she is. Here's my pupper. It's Ophelia, the exuberant shepherd.
So the borderless.
Oh, see, I love the borderless profile cards. I actually will say this right now. I love the look of these cards, the borderless profiles. I like these. It's a puppy dog, so I love the puppy dogs because I have a puppy dog deck on Arena. 1/1 flash 2/2. Whenever it attacks, exile up to one other target non-land permanent at the beginning of the next end step. Return that card to the battlefield under its control. If it entered under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Ophelia. There's another dog. There's another dog. What is it called? I think it's like something like a supply dog or something like that. Then when it enters the battlefield, you put 1/1 counters on all creatures you control or all dogs you control. So like if you attack with Ophelia, boom, exile him. Then he comes back, put counters on everything. Next turn, attack, exile, back, counters. Like
Profile cards give us this chance
But I love the
to
profile
show
cards,
the
though.
fans
I
like
do
a
say that.
really much more intimate, singular look at these powerful creatures and characters. You know, when we draw planeswalkers or important characters on a Magic card, the reality is their faces end up being, you know, like half a centimeter tall because we want to also show part of their body and we want to show weapons and magical effects. So the borderless profile card.
Kialia of the Vast. 1 red, white, black. 2/2 human cleric flying. Whenever they attack an opponent, you may put an angel, dragon, or an angel, demon, or dragon card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking the opponent. Yeah, don't take fear of the scariest things out there and have it. Yeah, ha ha ha.
Cards are, I think, a really special and
That's
fun
cool.
treatment that we do. You think of like an old school battle of like being on horseback and the commander riding past, and if you're lucky, you get like the glint of their eye, right? And that like motivates you to run out and throw yourselves.
I do
on
like the
spears of
borderless profiles,
enemies.
though. I
Just
do.
like a gorgeous piece of work. We've done a couple borderless profile.
Ulalok? Oh, no, Ulalok. 5 waste or 1 of every color. 2/5 Eldrazi with the Void. Whenever you cast an Eldrazi spell, you may pay 2 waste. If you do, copy all spells you control. Then copy all other activated and triggered abilities you control. You may choose new targets.
Card versions of the Eldrazi, and it's always kind of like a mind scramble. They're
I hate
just like
Eldrazi
these
so much.
huge,
I hate
monstrous,
Eldrazi so
sky-filling
much.
horrors that destroy everything in their wakes. But Cosmic Podar is an artist. We've worked with a bunch on those, and they're able to like really work
I hate
with
it so
the
much.
limits to
The art of the
really
card looks
produce
great,
Stuff that feels
but I hate the card.
powerful and exciting in that little cardboard square.
Have you seen the borderless commander cards?
Nice, look at that.
Right?
Ooh la lek. Well, I've got the
Ooh la
commander
lek.
decks here.
Sweet. We're gonna
Why
play a
don't
game
we
of
pass
Commander.
them around? A Merit Lage token with a Sand Warrior on the back. I think that gives us an idea of some of the wackiness that is
Merit
possible.
Lage?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
One of the things
Oh,
that I
boy.
really love about Modern Horizons 3 is that it's trying to make more Magic more exciting to more people.
This is not just a modern set. This is a set for everyone.
From the very beginning, we saw it change people's commander decks. Commander players love powerful cards. Magic players
yeah.
love powerful cards. I love powerful cards.
And so
I'm going to say, like, this is a me thing. I don't really care for powerful cards anymore. Like I said, it's just a me thing. I really don't, like, I'm seeing all of the Eldrazi cards. I don't care. I like building tribal. I like building, like, certain things. Like, a lot of the elf stuff is, like, there's the elf brain tribal side of me that's like, ooh, yes, 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 right. But like for instance, I have a bird deck that I'm working on. That's like an old school, like a lot of Odyssey, Scourge, Torment sort of cards. A lot of Avon. Like I have that. I'm waiting for Bloomburrow so I can get the Squirrel deck fully. Like as much as like powerful cards and massive cards are cool and everything, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I said, it's a me thing. It's a me thing. But like my Crozen Cloud Scraper days are past me now. So
Commander players love powerful cards. Magic players love powerful cards. I love powerful cards.
And so the angle that we found for the Commander decks was, what if these are Commander decks that feel like they are about the Modern format?
One of the things about Modern Horizons 3 Commander decks, those cards in there, they're Commander legal.
The cards that we're releasing will have 2 different expansion symbols. Some of them will have the regular Modern Horizons 3 expansion symbol. Those will all be legal in Modern. And then some of them will have the MH3 Commander expansion symbol.
Yes, I know that's kind of awkward. The product's called Modern Horizons 3. I didn't want to let us be held back because, yeah, Modern's in the name. Once you open the package, they're just amazing Magic cards.
Oh, wow.
I hate the wording of that because it sounds very, I'm going to word it like this, sounds very cash grabby, the wording here. So basically, if it has just this symbol here, where's my cursor? If it has just this symbol here, it's only legal in Modern. If it has this symbol here, it's only legal in Commander. So I couldn't use Aether Refinery in my Modern deck, and I can't use Generatorium in my Commander deck. I think that limits a lot what people can do as well.
Product's called Modern Horizons 3. I didn't want to let us be held back because, yeah, Modern's in the name. Once you open the package, they're just amazing Magic cards.
It's called Modern Horizons, but then there's a bunch of stuff for Commander.
Oh, wow. These are the new commanders for the precons? Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna cost you like a month of rent.
That is awesome.
The Eldrazi Incursion deck
can F right off.
Commanded by Ulalek, Fused Atrocity. For the Eldrazi deck, Eldrazi are a big deal in Modern. They've been, very impactful for quite a few years now. I just love having gigantic monsters that crush everything in front of them. The Creative Energy deck.
Satya, Aether Flux Genius. Alright, if I did one, that'd probably be this, maybe. But who knows, there's still 2 more. Colorless, blue, red, white, Menace, Haste. Whenever it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token. There's a copy of up to one other target non-token creature you control. Create 2 energy. Oh, you get 2 energy. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice that token unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. Okay, interesting. So you could technically just create a copy of something and keep it there for a while.
Deck is led by Satya, Aether Flux Genius. In this deck, you want to build up your reserves of energy and then spend them all on a huge effect to sort of blow out your opponents in a big blast.
The energy reserve, you are going to fill it up and use that energy. There are, I think it looks like at least 4 copy tokens to give you an idea.
That's a lot of copies.
That's a lot of copy tokens.
The Tricky Terrain deck is led by Omo, Queen of the...
So this is the one I looked at earlier with the everything counter on it? Okay.
Suva. This is definitely the weirdest of the decks. She can not only
I don't like
all
blue and
types,
green.
but she can give
That's
lands all land types. I love combining weird cards together that aren't normally played in Commander. I love winning with things that nobody expects. The Graveyard Overdrive deck is led by Disa the Restless.
Another one I'm going to say, I don't understand graveyard stuff. That's just another me thing. But Disa the Restless, she looks like she's from... I mean, there's an extent of it where she looks like she's from, like, Tarkir. 2 black, red, green. Whenever a Hergurflorp permanent card is put into the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, put it onto the battlefield. And whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a Tarmogoyf token. Tarmogoyf. I can say Tarmogoyf easy, but I can't say the first one. Got it.
Now this is an old character. She appeared in a whole lot of flavor text from Ice Age. Serious long-range callback there. But then mechanically,
far
she
back
calls back
for me
to
then
something
even shit.
a little less ancient, which is Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf. I know Tarmogoyf.
Was a huge player in Modern for most of the format's history.
This Jund deck has a lot of Goyfs in it. Our good friend Tarmogoyf, our old friend Lurgoyf.
And she makes tokens that are copies of Tarmogoyf because that is one of the greatest cards of all time.
A Lurgoyf themed commander?
And Lord Goyf.
That's unique.
Let us just get more cards into more people's hands, right? Like we knew there were Commander players out there that were wanting cards that were custom for them, and the Commander decks let us do that.
For players who like a flashier experience, we have the Collector's Edition.
So they have collector's editions of the Commander decks, and these, I think, if you want to buy all 4 of these, I think it's over $500 right now.
Commander decks for MH3. These feature a new kind of foiling process called ripple foil that when you turn the card, it ripples like water.
Oh, that's kind of cool looking. I really like, I will say this, I like the Omo. Out of all 3 of these, the most I like Omo, Disa, and then Ulek, and then Satya. But I do Omo and Disa though look awesome in this side profile,
and can only be found in the Collector's Edition.
All right.
These new commanders, like, whenever a new legendary creature comes out, everybody always looks at, okay, what can I do in Commander with these things?
Nope.
So I'm pretty stoked about it.
Not at all what I do.
Commander's my favorite.
I think it's really exciting to have new commander decks,
yeah.
new commander options.
It's hard to not like the Eldrazi one, but I like the one that messes with the lands the most. Yeah, the lands deck is really weird. I want to try it out.
I think that these decks are going to especially appeal to people who are fans of both formats, the Modern format and the Commander format. Like, you get to play something that feels like a Modern deck, but is big enough for a Commander table.
One of the first things I asked was, where can I play this? Because of course it's going to be in paper, but like, is it going to be on Arena? And they said, it's going to be on Arena. And I just thought, well, there goes my summer.
We want to bring Magic to fans no matter how you play.
If you want a fast game, Arena's the way to do it. And this is going to be one of the highest power formats of all time introduced to Arena.
It's fun to play with strong cards. It just is.
The fact that you can draft.
I've been doing premiere drafts every time a new set comes out. If I do a premiere draft of this, I'm going to get the absolute barn doors blown off of me.
I'm introduced to Arena.
My lord.
It's fun to play with strong cards. It just is.
The fact that you can draft on a Modern Horizons 3 on Arena, I think is the thing that players are the most excited about.
Once it goes up on Arena, like, you're not going to hear from me. Like, I'm not calling you. I'm not calling anybody else here. I'm going to be drafting.
I'm going to draft it nonstop.
It's more accessible than ever and easier than ever to be able to just jump in and play with these cards.
A big part of it is just the scale. There's just so much to it. There's so much complexity. There's so many cards. Like, this is not a small set. Modern Horizons 2 was something we talked about back in the day, but it was just not possible at the time. Arena did not have the depth of the history of Magic. In the years since, we've shipped more old card sets, we've added a ton of old cards, old mechanics, and when Modern Horizons 3 rolled around, we decided to go for it.
Usually when we interact with the Arena team, it's about we need to word things differently so it works on Arena. Magic Arena is a computer program, and it needs things to be very specific and very particular. We want these cards to work on Arena. We want that interface to be smooth. We want the gameplay to be fast. Okay, what needs to change?
Folks over on Studio X will regularly reach out and say, does this work? Is this something that Arena can handle?
Here are the cards. Do they work?
Is this card possible?
And then they dig in and they're like, okay, these ones work. And then other ones, they're like, this will never, ever work in 100 million years. Like, please, please, please change this.
Every once in a while, we push back and ask for slightly different words, or like, is there a way we can get this effect as a trigger instead of a replacement effect, that kind of thing.
To their credit, 99% of the cards we don't have to change. And the answer to, does this work, is yeah, good to go.
But in those meetings, when we're going back and forth with Studio X, it's very much as Magic players. Everybody in the room wants the coolest cards possible, so how do we make that happen?
We knew Modern Horizons 3 was coming when we designed Timeless, when we were putting all the pieces together and figuring out.
Timeless format, what is it? Non-rotating constructed format with 60 card decks. Any card you can collect on MTG Arena. Rebalance digital cards and original tabletop printings. All right.
What we wanted Timeless to look like. We are sort of rethinking the way the Mastery Pass works for Modern Horizons 3, and it's going to function similarly to what players who go to Magic Fests or Magic Cons now would remember as a prize wall. I was a big fan of the prize wall coming to tabletop events years ago, and it sort of changed how people engaged with those large events. And I'm excited to see how Arena players respond to having access to something like a prize wall.
The first Modern Horizons was really popular. Modern Horizons 2 kind of identified that there was a much bigger audience for this than just your hardcore Modern players. The set is about nostalgia and history, and this is Magic's history, and it's now Arena's history. It's really exciting.
All right.
Yeah, so the people I got to play with today, you know, we're not talking about just game designers. This isn't just work for them. They show up and they're clearly fans of the game. I mean, you could see them looking around to see what our reactions were. They were proud of the decks that they drafted. They got exciting opening cards that they designed. And it really comes through when you get to sit down with actual cards in your hand, because you can see their face and you can see how excited they are about it.
Psychic Frog's coming down, Jeremy.
Bye, Kozak.
Oh my god.
Better luck next time.
Solitude, huh?
Solitude.
Okay,
there you go, my friend.
A +1/+1 counter onto Madogo.
Dead jellyfish.
Do you regret giving this trample?
Do I regret giving? No.
Yeah.
The Wumpus needs trample. I'm gonna play Solar Transformer.
Okay.
Enters, I get 3 energy. I go to 5. Play Scurry of Gremlins. I get 2 1/1 red gremlin creatures. Look, there he is. Then I get an amount of energy equal to the number of creatures I control.
Okay.
This card has 1 more ability.
Okay.
It's a very important ability.
Does it involve the word haste?
It does involve the word haste. 4, 8.
Are you serious?
11.
Right now?
14.
This is real? This is actually happening.
This is actually happening. I'm coming at you for 30 damage.
May I go to blocks?
Yeah, you can block. You can block for sure.
I'll block this one.
I'm hitting you for 25.
Good game.
Yeah, good game. Good game.
What the heck, Mike? You had nothing.
The bigger a Magic fan you are, the more you're going to enjoy this set.
I do like that because it's just like, what the heck, Mike? Because I can tell you right now, in that situation, that heck is not the word I'm saying.
You had nothing.
The bigger a Magic fan you are, the more you're going to enjoy this set.
This has almost been 3-4 years in the making.
So just being a fan of like, yep, I'm gonna rip this open and give me some mythics, right? Give me some broken rares.
I could still like remember the smell of opening the booster pack. Isn't that weird?
I love Magic. I play Magic almost every lunch hour.
Almost lunch.
I know.
I'm really just hoping that the people around me feel the passion that went into the product and giggle about the references.
The best moments ever are when fans like open a pack and they gasp or they think like, what? I never imagined they would do something like this.
Playing Magic cards in real life is second to none. Marshall, I'm unstoppable.
You've never been stoppable.
Oh. Okay. Your new forever favorites. Okay. First off, that was cool. It was long. Was not expecting to go this long, so I'm gonna wrap up my thoughts as fast as I can, so you guys don't get overloaded with this. I don't like how they worded a lot of things. Like, your new forever favorites. I guarantee you when Modern Horizons 4 has come around, they're going to say something similar to, like, these are cards that are going to have to be in your Commander decks. These are cards that are going to have to be in this. Forever favorites, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't like the fact that, like, you know, they were like, oh, yeah, you know, it's like there's nothing better than playing paper Magic. But then 10 minutes before that, they're talking about how they're going to spend their entire summer playing Magic Arena. Kind of dull, you know, the amount of nostalgia is kind of cool, but at the same time, there was wording of it that made it sound very nostalgia baity, and like that's all they care about. Listen, I've been on and off of Magic since Odyssey. The book that I have here is from 01, I think it is. I think the Odyssey book that I got from a fat pack when I was a kid in England. This is from... Oh, boy. This book's older than frickin' I am these days. 2001. This is from 2001. So I've been on and off of Magic for about 20 years. Took a couple breaks, came back. Took a couple breaks, came back to an extent. And now I play it on Arena, and I play a little bit here and there, and I collect a little bit here and there. I'm not buying this set. It's too much. It's too much money, first off. Second off, I'm kind of getting over a lot of what Magic has done recently. I've been very vocal about that, and this is just me as a very casual player. I'm excited more for Bloomburrow than anything. I do not care about this. I'm more excited about the Assassin's Creed set than this. I'm more excited about Bloomburrow than this. This is nothing from me personally. Now I know for some people it's going to be exciting, but not for me. For me, I genuinely do not care. But there are some cards that look cool. It is interesting that they made it so there's cards that are going to be only available in Modern, but then also cards that are only available in Commander. I kind of like it, but I kind of don't like it at the same time. And again, it feels very kind of like, haha, give us money. This set feels very expensive for what you're getting. A lot of the things they were just talking about was big creatures and breaking things, which I'm not a fan of personally, but that's also just, like I said, that's a me thing. I don't like the whole, like, oh, how can I break this card? I don't like that. I know it's a weird thing to say. Don't like it. But visually, concept art-wise and art-wise, this set looks awesome. I do like the side profile stuff on stuff. There was a lot of cards that I did see today that I did really like. But overall, am I getting involved in Modern Horizons 3? No. No, I'm not. Let me know if you are. Let me know if you are down in the comments down below. What is your favorite deck right now? What are you most excited about for Magic? Where did you start? Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm probably going to get told that I'm wrong. So, yeah. But as always, depending on where you are, morning, after, even night, stay safe. We talk to you later. Bye. I might sound like a hater at this point, which I'm really not trying to be. I genuinely do like the game of Magic. A lot of what was said, I just don't agree with. And I don't I don't care about Modern Horizons 3. Give me the new Assassin's Creed set and give me Bloomburrow. I want to play as my I want to see Bloomburrow more than anything. Like, that's the most excited I've been since the whole Phyrexian War.